Welcome back to the BTN TV studio. My name's Andy Hoskins. I'm editor of BTN Europe. Joining me now, we're going to be talking about something a little bit different, are Kilian Clegg from Intel and Nick Dewey from Uber. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's talk about your recent success in the GBTA Ladders program. So for those who aren't familiar with the program, Kilian, could you just sort of outline what exactly it is?
So GBTA Ladders is a mentorship program that you get nominated to join, to be part of, and you therefore then have the ability to network with industry peers and professionals, attend educational sessions, and annually you get given a topic which you then, as part of your team, then kind of scope out to propose a solution that you then present, are judged on, and then hopefully get to go to the final four, where you then kind of, at the location that's chosen for that year, then get to present face to face.
Yeah, fantastic. And tell me how you both came to be involved in it. Was it?
So this is personally my second year doing ladders. So both times through the pandemic. And the good thing this year is that we got to meet in person as well. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to Nashville, but the guys went out there and did a stellar job, obviously.
Yeah.
So I got into it just through the network, really. It was always recommended to me, and I think James Diaz is the kind of recruiter general, kind of trying to get people ramped up. So that was how I got into it, and it's been a great opportunity for me personally. Obviously, meeting great people like Killy, and it's just really good. You meet people across the industry, across the network, and the collaboration opportunities moving forward are great. And today, just bumping into everyone that I've known over the last 2 years from ladders, that network keeps on growing. So it's been brilliant.
Yeah, for me, I was recommended by Dan Rain. So Dan kind of did some work with us at Intel and told me about the programme. It's my second year also, so I joined during the pandemic, which was quite difficult sometimes when you are within a team that has got people based in the US, based in Europe, based in the UK, and you don't actually meet each other. So my first season, I didn't meet anybody face to face. This season has been great, although me and Nick have only met for the first time yesterday. Going out to Nashville and meeting everybody in the team kind of face to face and having to spending that time with them was fantastic.
Yeah, and I understand the theme changes every year. Mm-hmm. This year was corporate responsibility, what's next?
Yeah.
So tell me about how you arrived at accessibility for all and the sort of makeup of your team just how that developed.
Okay, I'll start and then.
Yep.
So it's a broad topic. It's a huge topic. You can go in a million different directions, and kind of when your team is first put together. We were really, really lucky this year in the sense that we had representation from every vertical. So whether that be hotel suppliers, TMCs, GDSs, we had a lot of knowledge within our team from everybody. And we also had travel buyers in there, as well as people working on our side. We went off into lots of different directions. We kind of started with an idea, we then branched off and then came back to the idea. But we kind of honed in on accessibility because it's personal to myself. I've got an autistic son, and another member of our team, Edgar, his son has Down syndrome. But we recognised through our conversations that the process for not only booking travel, but the process for a traveller when travelling on business is broken. There's gaps. It's not a smooth process. And we wanted to therefore propose a solution that could do something to kind of fix that. We recognise that we can't fix it all overnight. So starting with the buyer vertical was the best way to go. Hopefully then introducing other verticals. I'll let you kind of.
Yeah, not too much more to add. I think that really gives a good overview of kind of where we came at it from. It was really good. I think Killian made the point about the diversity of our group as well, and just having like a travel buyer Ariel in our group was really good because it's easy from us from a supplier perspective to say things should improve, but she's and her peer group are the ones that really feel that on the ground. They're the ones that have to deal with the impact that it has for their travellers that have disabilities or are impacted when travelling. So her perspective was really good, I think, for us to kind of hold us to account, like, well, what does that mean in terms of how you translate that into travel programs, I think. It was just, we also, I think we talked about diversity and inclusion, which was a topic that we addressed previously in my previous Ladders program. We felt that disability, whether visible or invisible, was a huge part of that DEI story that wouldn't say he's been neglected, but I think it's not been addressed it's not as high up the agenda as we felt it should be. And we also felt that, not having the kind of disability addressed within travel programs also impacts the likelihood of someone with a disability of going for that job that requires travel, for example. So that could be a sales role, could be a commercial role. So it's about enabling opportunities for your son, for Edgar's son, moving forward. And that kind of helped, given that there was quite a personal story about that. And it's quite funny, since we've been doing this, the amount of stories in the press around disabled people that have been impacted on trip, it's been huge. Can't think of the guy's name, a disabled reporter for the BBC.
Frank Gardner.
That's it, yeah, Frank Gardner. He was left on a flight at Heathrow, and that's terrible when you think about it. It kind of ostracises him, and one of the things that we thought, really kind of focused on is how you make it inclusive for people with disabilities. So little things like a disabled area for wheelchairs, in some airports it's off in the corner somewhere. So that's an easy kind of conversation to have, to say, why is it there? Why is it not with everyone else? It shouldn't be them and us. It should be a kind of a group. We're all in this together, and we're no different, I think, is the perspective that we took it from. So we're conscious that there's lots of suppliers in the travel space that need to come together to solve this, and we're not going to solve it, but it was always about creating a community through which we can hopefully drive some change together. And we felt that the kind of travel space, building that from a travel manager's perspective, so they could almost have a community and group together to impact and drive change with their supplier base, was a good start. And we met some amazing people along the way, and pretty much, it seems to be an agenda topic for a lot of companies at the moment, from airlines to hotels and beyond. And there's a huge opportunity, I think, to drive continuous improvement. There's no end goal. It's about driving that continuous improvement, I think. So.
Fantastic. Sounds like really good work. And just in terms of your team, it's comprised of mentors and mentees, and you met quite frequently. It's quite a lot of work went into this, isn't it?
Yeah, so there was 2 mentors, Catherine and Emma, both from Sabre. Then we had Abby, who was our alumni advisor. And then there was myself and Nick. There was Ariel, who's based in the US. She was a travel buyer from Caveris. Carl Bromley, who was also from Sabre. We had Carrie from United Airlines, and we had Edgar, who works for a hotel chain out in the US. Cambrian. So we were quite different. So in my previous season, we met frequently, but this year we all got on so well, and we formed such a good bond really early on. We met twice a week throughout the whole programme. So I think that really benefited us and was definitely a factor in our success. But during our meetings, we then branched off into 2 different. So we had target areas that we wanted to look at, whether that was research, whether that was looking at a potential system, how we were going to get the community together. So myself and Nick, we branched off and we looked at market research. We looked at the figures and the stats, and kind of how we wanted to get that message across, that there is over 1 billion people in the world that have a disability. That relates to 15% of the population. But then through talking to different travel managers, different buyers, they didn't really see or they have any visibility of how many people within their programme or how many travellers they got that had a disability. People weren't talking about it. People didn't feel comfortable with going to the travel manager and saying, actually, I've got an invisible disability and I need help with this when looking at my travel. So those stats were quite alarming. And really opened our eyes to the fact that there is something that needs to be done in this area.
Well, you're clearly very passionate about it, and if I wasn't clear earlier, you were the winning team, so congratulations again. So what does that mean now for accessibility for all? Where does it go from here?
Yeah, so also a big shout out to Carrie, who won Mentee of the Year, so on our team. So each year within that, I think our advisors and mentors put forward recommendations or for shortlisted for the Mentee of the Year, and Carrie won that, and totally deserved, like a really stellar job. And also a big shout out to the whole team, but Ariel, also fantastic job in terms of bringing the team together. Just a great team. It was fantastic. Carl and Edgar as well. In terms of the future, I think, like I said, it doesn't end. I think this is the starting point. I think it's involving the organisations, building the community out, integrating that within GBTA, within the DEI committee, which we've got commitment on. And they're, is looking at kind of using the GBTA platform primarily to create a network, but then branching out. And it needs to be inclusive of the existing kind of communities that are out there. We don't necessarily want to create a new one, because this is an extension of conversations on the TAMS network or within GBTA or ITM. So I think it's about raising the profile of the message. Also working with companies like Accessio, who have really helped us, I think, through the process in terms of, and they look after, or their kind of business is to promote and support companies with accessibility as well, isn't it? So in the travel space. So it's working closely with them and staying close to that. And I think it's continuing to make that message front and center of conversations at shows like this, GBTA and beyond. And then from a team perspective, the winners of ladders get to present an education session at GBTA conference, which is in San Diego in a couple of months' time. So at least kind of 3 or 4 of us from our team will be there doing an education session. So a bit of a plug for that, I think. It'd be great to get people to attend. And that's an opportunity to continue the conversation and keep it going. I don't know if you'd add anything.
Yeah, I think as a team we are continuing to get that message out. I mean, I know Ariel spoke with BTN in the US. She did an interview and kind of was shouting about what we've done. And I think we've just got to keep that message going. Having the DE&I committee of the GBTA reach out to us and say that they want to progress this, they want to move this forward, is massive, because we wanted to leverage the GBTA and all of its members and kind of use that as our base for the community. And it made sense to do that. It's the right place to go. And to have Jill Karokowicz, who is the educational piece, the person within the committee, want us to kind of move that forward, was a huge bonus for us.
Well, fantastic. Congratulations, well done. Some really good work there. And I wish you all the very best for it in the future. So thanks for joining me, Kilian and Nick. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you.
And back to the show floor, and I'll be back again shortly. Thank you very much.